Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. People have bad days, but it takes maturity to realize that you screwed up and move past it. Our first story is about the conflict between the chef and our OP who worked at the hotel. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Chef, how long for that order? I was quite new to the hotel and very new to room service when this happened, so the chefs hadn't gotten to know me yet. I was waiting on an order, the only room service order, and the kitchen was not quiet. It wasn't busy, but there were a few orders queued up for the restaurant. I'd been waiting for the order for maybe 7 or 8 minutes and had picked a couple of quick, easy jobs to do while I waited. Not wanting to start anything else, in case I didn't have time, I approached the sous chef, Satish, at the window. How long for that order, chef? F off! Something about the way he said it didn't cause me to instantly get PO'd. I was a bit confused and thought maybe he thought I was rushing him. So I asked again differently. I'm just wondering how long I have before the order is ready. I said F off. Okay, now I'm PO'd. You want me to F off? No effing bother, mate. I walked over to the room service station, grabbed the trolley, and went up to the 7th floor in search of dirty room service trays. The building is shaped like a U, and the service elevator is smack dab in the middle of the U, so when checking floors, you need to pick one direction and walk until near the end, as there are little alcoves designed to hide the trays so it looks less dirty, to an extent. So you need to walk one side, double back round to the elevator, and repeat for the other side. There are about 85 to 97 rooms per floor, so it's at least half a kilometer walked per floor. I walked all 6 floors that had rooms on them. Ordinarily, I'd grab 4 to 5 trays and pop back down to clear them off, but F that noise, I pile about 10 trays precariously until it looks like Wile E. Coyote's latest attempt to catch the Roadrunner, and take my Acme trolley back down. I arrive back downstairs a good 30 to 40 minutes later and can hear the echoes of this chef screaming, "Room service!" half the hotel away. I stroll into the kitchen and walk towards the porter station to unload dirty dishes, and Satish finally spots me. Where the F have you been? I've been calling you for 20 minutes. I went to clear the floors. I asked you how long and you wouldn't answer. I can't stand around all day for one order. I got other crap to do. If I ask you and you tell me 10 minutes, I'll be back in 9. If you tell me 2 minutes, I won't even leave. I'll find something here. But if you tell me to F off, I'll do whatever I deem to be urgent. Satish doesn't answer. I can see he's not happy, but he's thinking. The moment seems to drag on. Finally, he starts laughing. Didn't expect that. He turns around to the chefs and says, "This is effing ruined. I need a new one straight away." Turns back to me and politely says, 2 minutes. Not to push my luck, I unload the trays at breakneck speed, grab the new tray for this order, and move to the window after 90 seconds. The fallout? Satish is actually a great guy, and we got on like a house on fire after that. He'd always tell me how long, and we were actually the most efficient pairing. I have no idea why he was like that at the moment it happened, but he moved past it pretty quickly and was usually in a great mood. He would sing and dance when it was crazy busy to keep himself hyped up on adrenaline, and we had plenty of laughs before I moved on about 8 months later. And our second story. Entitled Karen pushes me out of electric cart. For reference, I have a hereditary connective tissue disorder, HEDS. I also have a degenerative disc disease and a comorbid form of dysautonomia, POTS, that makes my heart race every time I'm standing and can eventually cause me to pass out if I'm standing for too long. Because of this, I tend to use my wheelchair for longer outings. Thankfully, my grocery store has those electric carts that customers can ride around on in the store, so I don't have to go to the trouble of hauling my wheelchair out of the car and can just use one of those. So I'm in the store doing some grocery shopping, minding my own business. I wasn't even really paying attention to the people around me because I just wanted to get what I needed and get out. One of the items I needed happened to be on the top shelf, so I got up out of the electric cart to get it off the shelf. The next thing I know, this effing Karen flips her crap because those carts are for people who need them, not kids who just want to take them for a joyride. I should add here that if you don't know me or you've never seen me attempt to walk, there doesn't appear to be anything wrong with me. Other than the way I walk, I look pretty healthy to the casual observer. Now, I get this kind of thing all the time when I'm using one of the store's electric carts, so I just rolled my eyes and told her that I do need it and started to move along to get the rest of my shopping done. Surprise, surprise. That wasn't the end of it. The next thing I know, this bee's hands were on my shoulders and she gave me a hefty shove and effing pushed me so hard I fell out of the cart. Now I'm just sitting there on the floor, stunned, while this woman yells obscenities at me in between generally incoherent ramblings about dumb college kids. Thankfully, at this point, my friend came back from grabbing milk. He rounded the corner into the aisle and saw what was going on. The subsequent argument went something like this. Friend: excuse me, what the F do you think you're doing? Karen: this little brat thinks it's okay to steal carts from disabled folks. Friend: he is disabled, you effing T. Karen: I saw him get up to reach for something. He's obviously faking it. Friend: you think just because he can stand means he doesn't need a cart? And you think that gives you the right to assault him? What the F is wrong with you? Friend then proceeds to ask me if I want him to call the cops. Lady starts freaking out over the possibility of actual real-life assault charges, and I guess the commotion was enough that at that point, one of the store's managers decided to get involved. He sees me still on the floor and asks what's going on, and when my friend explained what happened, he also asked me if I wanted to call the authorities. At this point, I'd had enough and just wanted to go home. At the end of all this, the store manager comped my groceries, banned Karen from the store, and told me he would make sure that all the other stores from the chain that were in the area did too. I've had people give me the side eye or go so far as to chide me for using the store's electric carts before, but I have never had anyone put their hands on me until now. It makes me so mad because this woman literally just saw me stand up to reach something, and apparently that was reason enough for her to feel the need to physically remove me from the mobility aid I was using. Now, like I said, to the casual observer, I don't look disabled. Unless you saw me walking or saw me dislocate something, you probably wouldn't know there was anything wrong with me. It just makes me so angry because people ought to know that invisible illnesses exist and that not all disabilities can be outwardly seen. Also, just because someone can stand up doesn't mean they don't need a wheelchair. It's not like only people who are paralyzed have the right to use one. And even if I was just a dumb college kid taking an electric cart for a spin, that doesn't give someone the right to push me out of it. I shouldn't have to explain my disability to everyone who sees me using a mobility aid. That happens a lot, even when I'm just using my cane. Random strangers will ask me what happened or how I hurt myself. My go-to answer / shutdown for that is, I was born. And I especially shouldn't have to fear for my physical safety every time I need to go grocery shopping. Anyway, sorry if this was long-winded or ranty. Crap was infuriating. Even if someone's faking it, what does that have to do with them? And like you said, there are enough invisible illnesses that everyone should be aware of that by now. And our last story. That's not a tow truck. This happened about 25 years ago, so excuse me for glossing over fuzzy memories. One of my favorite cars was a 71 Mercedes-Benz 250. It was a beast. Straight six with dual carburetors, had great AC so long as you were driving at least 55 miles per hour or it'd stall the engine. Rolls-Royce style hood with the original ornament. I loved driving it to San Francisco and cruising around. I worked very hard to keep it on the road and detail the original leather interior. One day, I'm driving home from the store and it started stalling. I pulled over in a neighborhood about 6 blocks from home and parked. I tried to restart it and it wouldn't turn over. I left it parked in front of someone's house with my phone number on the dash and walked home. The next day, I went back with a friend and it was gone. I called the police and reported it stolen, My friend recommended going back and asking the homeowner if they'd seen anything. So I did, and the woman said, "Here," and handed me one of those homemade business cards and told me not to take someone's parking space. I called the number, and he said he'd tow it back for $60. I'd never been towed and figured that's nice of him. Of course, I called the police officer and told her that it was a mistake and my car had just been towed. She informed me that it's illegal to tow a car from public streets without a police report or something like that, and asked for the information about the tow operator. I gave her the info, and she said she'd be there when the car was returned. I had scheduled for 9 p.m. that night. At about 8:30, the officer and a couple of her friends arrived and were waiting when my car was towed into the cul-de-sac. The tow truck was one of those trucks with the big tree spades on the back for relocating trees. I was watching through the window with the lights off so I couldn't be seen and was in shock. The officer came to the door and told me I didn't have to pay him and that they were following him back to his land where he told them he had other cars he'd towed. Turned out he was just some random person towing cars to his land with no way to contact the owners. They were just sitting there in a field. Most of them had stolen vehicle reports, and I later found out he was charged with auto theft and operating a tow company with no license. After removing dirt and straw from the front of my car, I was able to replace the alternator and get my car back on the road. About a week later, I was driving past the neighborhood at night and saw the people who had my car towed leaving their house. I turned around and drove my very heavy car across their lawn and over their mailbox back onto the street before driving away. Felt good at the time, but looking back, I kinda wish I'd done more. You're really lucky they didn't call the cops themselves and go after you. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.